Hello and welcome to another episode of the And All Alone podcast. My name is Araya Curry. I'm the host of this podcast and I'm so glad that you're here today. Listen, if you're listening to this, all right, cool. But if you're watching it on YouTube, okay, because episode 10, y'all, double digits, I wanted to do something special. I've been working hard, running around like a rabbit with my head cut off, trying to figure out how to figure out all this technology just to get the podcast on YouTube. Okay, so if you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment. I'm so happy that the podcast is on YouTube now. Like, I'm feeling real official. Like, y'all see this boom mic, this mic with this boom arm? This got me feeling like I'm the Breakfast Club or some shit. Okay, I'm excited. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and do our little check in. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How was your week? Was it good? Did you learn something new? You need to be learning something new every week, even if it's something small. Okay? I don't care if you just learned a new word. You need to be learning something new. All right? Constantly making yourself grow so you can evolve, so you can go higher and higher. Okay. Anyways, I'm doing good. I'm doing well. It's been busy for me. I can't even believe I'm up doing this right now. Like, I know it's 9:49, but I've been up since around 8, and that's crazy considering I went to sleep at 3:50 a.m. But I've been working hard on some things for y'all. I got some things that I'm releasing, and it's a lot of work. It's hard work, but to whom much is given, much is required. That's what I keep telling myself. That's the mantra I'm going with. So that's the mantra we're gonna go with. Okay, okay. Today's episode, all right, it's a little bit more of a personal story. I'm just gonna tell y'all about how motherhood saved my life. Literally becoming a mom saved my life. All right. So this should we call this testimony service? Like, this is basically kind of like a testimony. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So pretty much, way back when in 2020, okay, I was still in the Navy, pandemic had happened. I was super depressed and I was spiraling like emotionally, but I didn't realize it. But I was definitely spiraling. I was going out all the time. I had a drinking problem. It's funny because I was underage, but yeah, I had a drinking problem. I was just partying all the time or just doing things to unhealthily cope with whatever pain I was feeling internally. I had a therapist at the time, but I wasn't really being completely honest with my therapist because the thing about therapy in the military, and I mean, I did have a therapist that wasn't like a military therapist. She was out in town and my insurance paid for it. But I used to be scared that if I told the truth, I would get kicked out. Like, if I told the truth about how I was feeling, they was going to think something was wrong with me and they was going to kick me out, which is funny because I still ended up getting kicked out. But anyways, so yeah, that was pretty much what happened. So I had a therapist, wasn't really being honest with my therapist about how I was feeling and what I was dealing with. But I was kind of learning some coping skills. Like, I was learning some things about myself. So I was there. I was present. Okay. The fact that I was in therapy is a victory in and of itself. But to all of y'all, please be honest with your therapist. It's no good to you. You're doing yourself a disservice by not being truthful to your therapist. Don't be like me. But I'm spiraling. I literally got in a fight. I fought one of my friends, but I still justified that ass whooping, if I'm being completely honest, because it just kind of was what it was. But I do think that if I wouldn't have been where I was mentally at the time, I don't think I would have fought her. I think I probably would have let her have it. But sometimes when you get to a certain point in life and everything's piling up and that one thing happens, that one situation happens where you just feel like you're going to take all of your anger out on this thing, that's pretty much what happened in that instance. Like I said, I still stand by why I did it, but I just don't think I would have let it go that far. I think I would have just like I said, I think I would have just let her have it. But yeah, got in a fight, was getting in a lot of trouble with my command. Honestly, and if they're watching this, I don't know. Somebody at my command when I was in San Diego, California, I worked at Third Fleet. Somebody was snitching on me. Like, somebody was watching my social media, and granted, was I technically breaking the rules? Yes, because the military had said, like, oh, COVID, we're putting y'all on like extra restrictions. So even when the world started opening up, they're like, no, you're not allowed to be nowhere. You're supposed to social distance. Da 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 da. Y'all, I literally got in trouble because I went to the beach with my friends, right? And I had posted a cute little video of me in my bikini on Facebook. Well, I posted on my Instagram story. Now my Instagram, my Facebook are connected again. Before a while, I disconnected it because of whoever was snitching on me. But I have, me and my friends, we cute. I'm taking a little video of us. I got in trouble because, well, one, they said that I wasn't social distancing. They said the distance that my friend was from me in the video was below, what was it, 6 feet at the time, whatever the social distancing measurement was. They was like, oh, that was less than 6 feet, so I was in trouble for not social distancing. And then at the very, very end, like, you had to be really, really listening to the video. It would, mind you, it's on my story, and this video was all of like 5 seconds, or maybe 6, maybe 8, I don't know. But at the very, very end, I said, I had a water bottle, right? Like a stainless steel water bottle. When you want to keep the inside cold, we would put our little drinks in there and bring them to the beach because, in the beach, you can't get caught open container alcohol. You're going to get a ticket, okay? So at the very end of the video, I said, oh, I can kind of taste the alcohol in this. And somebody heard that, and they sent it to my chief. I kid you not. Then I had a thing, like, someone just kept snitching on me. Whenever I made posts and I was just upset about something, I remember I was upset about the way some shit was going on with our command because the white leaders in our command tried to act like the racial unrest wasn't going on. So I said something, right? I'm like, y'all know we black when we take this uniform off, right? Like, I don't know what it is about white people in the military specifically that think that, like, my chief had literally said, we're all green. Curry, I don't see color. When I look, we're all green. I am not fucking green. I don't care nothing about this green uniform. I am not green. Nigga, I'm black in this uniform, and I'm black when I take it off. There was definitely plenty of times I had got pulled over that I was so glad that I was in uniform because I'm like, the likelihood of them, shooting someone active duty military on their way to or from work is a lot less likely, I hope. Hopefully they saw green. But to say that to your sailors, I think it was real tone deaf, and he needed to read the room. And yeah. So that was that. So all of that's going on, y'all. All of that's going on. I'm spiraling. I'm dealing with toxic situations with men. I mean, this is when the very toxic start of being my baby daddy, if I'm being honest. All types of stuff. I got all types of stuff going on that pretty much resulted in me wanting to unalive myself. Now, I actually took it a step further and tried to, right? So I ended up in the mental hospital, the Navy mental hospital, and I was like, this is it. Oh, let me also add that I was doing drugs. So pretty much, I have been spiraling. Okay, drugs, fights, a whole lot of toxic situations with men, career going to shit. I had tried to start college, dropped out of college. I just withdrew from school. I didn't even really get much of a chance to start. All of this is going on. And I ended up I'm like, I don't want to be here no more. Like, I felt like I was suffocating in my own life, right? I'm like, I just don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. Why is everything so hard? And then when the attempt happened, it made it worse for me, right? Because I was obviously not successful. And then I remember thinking, like, my career is over. Like, now they know I had, because of the attempt, they admitted me to the hospital and stuff. So now I'm like, they know I had drugs in my system. Now I'm going to look crazy to everybody in my command, because my mom, she was concerned about what I was doing. So she was a scared mother. I never blamed her for the end of my career. But, she called my command and she was like, somebody needs, because I'm all the way in California. My mom is in Indiana or Kentucky at the time, and she calls the what number she could find on Google or whatever, like emergency contact. She tells somebody, hey, like I need y'all to find my daughter and like go get her, because the last conversation I had with her was not too pretty. And so all of this happens. I'm like, okay, now I know I'm gonna get kicked out. This is horrible. This is horrible. I had always saw myself doing 20 years in the Navy, and I'm my ambition. I'm the type of person who likes to aim high in anything that I do. So I'm not just gonna be a participant. I'm not just like, I'm gonna excel in it too. Period. That was just me. I'm gonna try to get good at this thing so I can be really good at this thing. That makes sense. But yeah, so I had always saw myself doing like 20 years in the military. I definitely never saw myself getting kicked out. That wasn't what I had saw for myself. And now I'm like, they're for sure gonna kick me out. And I don't know what to do with my life. I don't want to think what to do. Like, I felt like I was gonna be, like I was a defect or like a reject. Like, you not, I don't know if I thought it was going to make me less of a veteran or what, but I was just completely bummed, right? Because I had planned on going to the Navy since I was in middle school. Because I watched military movies. I used to love watching military movies. Literally, one year for Christmas, my mom bought me the physical Act of Valor DVD, because that's how much I love watching military movies. Well, I used to. Not anymore. I lived it. But they so yeah, so like this is all I ever saw for myself. So now that I know that I'm probably not gonna have this, like, what was the point? And I remember when I got released from the mental hospital, I was still stressed out, but I felt like I said what I needed to say to get me the hell out of there. Anybody who's ever been in a mental hospital knows that shit is not fun. Okay. This one girl did sneak her vape into the mental hospital. I was wondering how she did that. I'm like, she literally had to put the vape up her cooch because they make you strip. Anyway, sorry y'all. So yeah, I'm like, what am I gonna do? Who am I gonna be? I didn't want to have to think about it. So honestly, y'all, in my head, I planned to try again. I was like, I'm not gonna tell nobody. I'm gonna just play it cool, and then eventually I'm gonna try again. And I remember thinking, like, I was just kind of letting myself make a bunch of reckless decisions, because to me, I continued to make more reckless decisions because to me, I was planning on ending my life again anyways. Like, I was like, I'm not gonna miss this time. But before I go, let me just, do some shit. And I was doing that. And then, but my child's father, which I didn't know he was going to be my child's father at the time, but literally he was with me like the day after I got out the mental hospital. Like, he was there for me and stuff like that. And then I found out like a week after getting out of the mental hospital that I was pregnant. And I remember thinking, God, like, and this is me after I got out the mental hospital. I got my plan that, hey, I'm going to still try again because I don't want to live. I don't want to have to think about this. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I'm just so stressed out. I'm on the other side of the country. I just, like, I don't want to be here. I went from that to I'm finding out I'm about to have a baby. And I remember asking God, like, what type of sick joke is this? Because to me, it had to be because I didn't even want to live. I didn't want to live for me, let alone be responsible for a whole nother human being. My friend Denny and Zay, my favorite lesbian couple. I'm sorry, y'all. I was at their house. I was at Zay's house. And I remember Denny was like, they were so concerned for me because I had took the test at their house because I'm not thinking I'm pregnant. Like, I'm at their house. We had like smoked the night before. We got brunch plans the next day. We're like, ooh, we're going to go to brunch, day drinking. We're going to the beach. Like, I'm thinking this, we had our whole little day plan. So that night, I just had a dream that I was pregnant. And I was like, I felt a little real. No, I wasn't pregnant. I had a dream that I had a baby. And I was like, huh? that felt a little too real. So the next day I wake up, I'm like, hey, Denny, we got to slide to CVS or Walgreens because I I had a dream I had a baby and it just felt a little too real. I just need to calm my nerves, ease my mind. I just need to see the not pregnant show up, you know. So she's like, okay, girl, like you're not pregnant. Like, but okay, literally we're at CVS. We're getting pregnancy tests and wine, okay? Like we got barefoot and a pregnancy test, you know, at the register because I'm not thinking I'm pregnant. I go, I see that test, y'all. I was so shocked. I was in such a state of shock. I kept going from like hysterically laughing to hysterically crying. Like I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Why would I? What the fuck? Why am I pregnant? Like this is fucking crazy. Like I don't fucking know what I'm gonna do. Like literally, I did that for like 10 to 15 minutes straight. I'm not exaggerating. If Denny or Zay, if y'all ever see this, please comment and let the people know I'm not exaggerating. They were so scared because they was like, what is happening? They was like, are you okay? I was like, no. Okay. So yeah, I found out I was pregnant. I'm like, God, what? Honestly, y'all, and Christians, please don't come for me. But listen, I'm just real. I'm real, and I'm real with my relationship with God, and that's why we so close. I honestly said, God, what the fuck? Why would you give me a baby? Now, was I the one shucking and jiving and Megan the Stallionese? Yes, clearly I was the one doing the acts. Okay, I know that the only way you can have a baby is through sex, unless you're the Virgin Mary. But I was still kind of like, God, what the fuck? Like, why I had to get pregnant? Like, because, you know, having a baby is still a miracle. So I'm like, what? Don't play with me. I was pissed. I was really pissed. And I was like, okay, well, I'm about to have a baby. I mean, and I felt like I couldn't, you know, I couldn't kill it. And I'm pro-choice. I really am, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Even though I'm like, this could literally be like the worst time for me to get pregnant. But honestly, it ended up being the best. It ended up being the best. So, like I said, y'all, me and my child's father was very toxic. And so I literally had to unblock him to tell him I was pregnant. And then I made 2 other calls. I told my bestie cousin and I told my mama. And yeah, it was just group, you know, sent it to my group chat like, I'm fucking pregnant. Like this is actually crazy. And with my high school clique, my high school best friends, Judy, Danielle, I have played, first of all, we had a pregnancy bet, right, about who would get pregnant first. And then 2, I played the pregnancy prank before. So they was just like, we don't believe you. Like, FaceTime us and then we'll believe you. So I kind of started to get a little like, okay, like, well, I'm pregnant. You know, I gotta figure this thing out. And that caused me to never have a suicidal thought again. I think literally after I found out I was pregnant with Isaiah, I just was like, it's not just about me no more. And that's why now I know when they talk about having a purpose that's bigger than outside of yourself, was bigger than you. At the time, and still to this day though, you know, Isaiah was bigger than me. It was more than me. So becoming pregnant caused me to stop all my unhealthy habits. So it's how I stopped vaping. It forced me to have to get my life together. So now that I'm not gonna off myself, now that I have to live and I have to figure out how I'm gonna live with a child and how we're gonna exist in this world, like for real, you know, I had to start making some different choices. I had to learn that I can't control everything. I really had to learn how to focus on what I could control because at the time I'm still stressed out about sorry, y'all. At the time, I was still stressed out about my Navy career because I'm like, this is even worse. Now I'm about to have a baby and get kicked out the Navy. Like, this is even worse. But I knew that they weren't going to make their decision immediately. And then I also knew that they had to, it had to go through a process, right? And then I appealed it. I did that a little bit. One, to make it take longer. And then two, because I was really trying to stay in, because I was like, I would like to know that I'm going to have that check coming on the 1st and 15th every month with this baby. And I want BAH. But, they weren't going to make that decision immediately. So I told myself, you know what, whenever they make their decision is when they make their decision. But right now, like, I had to learn that I could not worry about that. Now, given the fact that I had the attempt, that I was in the mental hospital, the Navy required me to do intensive outpatient therapy. So pretty much my job became pretty much checking in with my command, going in for a little stuff, but I had to be in all of my different therapy sessions. I had to give my chief my schedule. Like, that's pretty much what my life became, was going to therapy. So I did learn a lot of tools, and I probably learned more tools than most people are aware exist, if I'm being honest. And on this podcast, eventually I will be sharing a lot of those tools, because I still have a lot of the worksheets and stuff like that. So I think it'd be helpful to, just to help y'all understand how to process life. And I honestly don't think that I'm definitely not the woman I am today without all of that overcoming and grunt work that I had to do in that very dark season of my life. Because the darkest season of my life was followed up by like a very big grind season, and then I found kind of like new purpose and new energy and started to kind of feel what it's like to dream again. And I just been going through the motions and through the seasons ever since. So motherhood pretty much gave me purpose. I was like, okay, I can actually see myself, being a mom. I actually see myself thriving. Like I said, I've not had that type of thought since I found out I was pregnant, and my son is going to be 4 this year. So I'm grateful for that. And I did have to make a certain mindset shift, though. I remember I was on a cruise with my family, and we had I was on the balcony, and I don't know if anybody else has had this experience, but I had this experience with the ocean. I was on the balcony looking at the water, and the ocean is just so healing in a way that I can't explain it. And that's why I have to live somewhere that's not too far from it. And I live in Tampa, Florida now. Clearwater is 45 minutes away. But I remember just like, I had a moment where God kind of spoke to me and said that for up until this point, what has kept you alive and what has kept you from not wanting to not be here was you wanted to do it for Isaiah, my son. I wanted to do it for my son. But I felt God was telling me, you have purpose, here. You have purpose in life, even outside of you being a mother, even outside of him. Just you yourself, who you are. You have purpose. You're wanted here. I want you here. There's a reason you're here. And that was when I made the shift from like, oh, like, my son is keeping me alive, I guess, or like, that's the reason why I'm not suicidal. I'm sorry, I don't know what trigger words triggers YouTube. I'm learning. But that's what made it shift from being, suicidal to, well, I went from I'm not suicidal because of my son to I'm not suicidal because I have a purpose in my life. There's a reason why I'm here. And that was a big shift to make, right? To go from the reason I'm still here being outside of me to the reason I'm here is because I'm me. But motherhood is what allowed me to be able to do that, right? Because I had already felt what it felt like to have a sense of purpose, to be here. So yeah. And then y'all, it's what's even funnier, and then I'm gonna end with this. What's even funnier is the fact that I had named my son Isaiah. I knew I was naming my son Isaiah for months before I ever knew what the name Isaiah meant. I had a gender reveal. I just knew I was having a girl. Found out I was having a boy. I was pissed for like 5 minutes, and then I got over it. And I was like, okay, like I'm having a boy, and I wanted to figure out names. And my friend Gibby, her mom, me and her, we was like on the couch, just kind of like throwing names back and forth. And I'll be like, mm-hmm. And then she said Isaiah. And I don't know what it was, but Isaiah just kind of stuck out to me. I was just kind of like, I like Isaiah. As y'all see on my necklace, if you're on YouTube, this says Isaiah. Can y'all see it? I don't know how to do this. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, Isaiah. And I just liked the name. So I went with it. I told his daddy, I'm like, we're naming him Isaiah. And this ain't up for debate. He's getting your last name. I'm choosing his first name. And then my friend Asia, I remember she called me and she was like, she just called me to check up on me, see how I was doing, see where my headspace was. Because I think at that point, the last time me and her talked, I was spiraling. I was not doing well. I didn't feel like I wanted to be here. I was super depressed, and she was just, praying for me, hoping that, telling me, get my mind right, stuff like that. And so she called to check in on me like months later. I'm like 7 months pregnant at this point. I'm like 6 or 7 months pregnant. Like I'm in the pregnancy for real. And she was like, oh, like, what's your name of the baby? And I was like, Isaiah. And she was like, oh, what does that mean? And I was like, that's a good question because I did not know what the name Isaiah meant. And I remember she was telling me that you should look it up. You should go see what that name means, especially before you just name your child something. So I'm like, that's a good idea. And I went and I Googled it. And I found out the name Isaiah meant God is my savior. Y'all, I literally, my heart dropped to my ass, okay? And when I got off the phone with her, I remember just crying because I had been saying that even during my pregnancy, I was so clear. I was like, my son saved my life. My son saved my life. Then I was saying Isaiah saved my life. So to find out that the name Isaiah meant God is my savior, it was like God's way of saying, like, I saved you. I've been here all along. Don't worry, I had you. I was going to save you by any means necessary. You can't even take your own. I'm not even going to let you take your own self out. So that is pretty much the story of how motherhood saved me. And that's why I do love being a mom. It comes with its challenges, okay? He tries me all the time, all right? I literally have to get a new comforter set as we speak because he shitted on my comforter set. Yes, and he's potty trained, but I don't know what he did. I don't know how it happened. Anyways, that's why I love being a mother. I love being a mother. I love being a mother. I love motherhood. I love my son. He is definitely just a big ball of joy and sometimes stress. But yeah, becoming a mother really saved my life. And I'm definitely not here without my baby, without Isaiah, without God. God is my savior. Okay. I hope y'all enjoyed that episode. I don't really have much of a self-reflection this week. This is episode 10. I was gonna do this podcast in seasons, but I decided we're just gonna let it flow. We're just gonna let it flow. But episode 10, y'all, we finally on YouTube. We finally in the double digits. We've been doing this podcast for 10 weeks. That's almost 3 months. We almost hit the 3-month mark. I'm excited. I'm excited to be on YouTube now, and I really hope y'all enjoy just a little bit of my story. I hope you got something from it. I hope you know that God is here for you too. It wasn't reserved just for me. I hope you know that your life has purpose. Your life has a meaning. There is a reason why you're here. It's a miracle that you're here. All right? You was the fastest swimmer in your daddy's nutsack. Okay? So, I love y'all. Stay blessed. Stay hydrated. Stay beautiful. And remember that as you go through life, okay, everything is reasons and seasons, and all along, it'll be working together for your good. Okay? Y'all like that? Okay. All right, I'm going to see y'all in the next episode. I love y'all. Bye-bye.